How's it going, everybody? My name is Jim, and welcome to Restoration Projects. Today's video, we are going to be restoring this Delta Model 882 lamp. Now, this lamp is designed to go on Delta's drill presses, bandsaws, and scroll saws. As far as when it was first produced, the earliest piece of documentation I was able to find on vintagemachinery.org was a brochure from 1934 that showed this lamp attached to one of their drill presses. As far as an end date when they quit manufacturing these lamps, I do not know. I was not able to find anything in any of my research. My educated guess would be that they probably did away with these lamps when Rockwell took over Delta and eventually phased it out and sold the rights to the company in the mid-70s and early 80s. That's speculation, though, so I don't know when they officially quit making these. Now, for the body of the lamp, it is cast aluminum. So that's the part right there that you're seeing me use the 6-inch buffing wheel on the Stanley Handyman grinder right there. And I'm just buffing off all the oxidation with it. I'm using black compound, which is the most aggressive buffing compound that I have in my kit there. And I'm just going over it with the buffer and letting the buffer do the work to remove the oxidation. Now, these lamps are also known as a Delta retirement lamp if you look them up on eBay or anywhere for the internet for that matter. And I can't really give you a good reason for why they're called a retirement lamp. Maybe because it would take a retirement's level of savings to buy one of these, because unrestored, these things run almost up to $100. So $80 to $100 is usually the price range you're going to find these. Now, for buffing these smaller areas and the hard-to-reach areas, I found a Dremel worked really well with buffing compound. Side note here, right there, this is what I do with my workbench, is I have a roll of paper there, and every time it gets dirty, I just cut it off, and I'm able to put a new one on there, and that gives me a clean work surface when I'm doing any of these restorations. So I found that was really handy. Figured I'd throw that in a video if you're doing a restoration of your own. So there's a lamp right there, and you can see it's all polished up. I didn't get super deep on the inside because I'm not really going to see it, and it's not going to make that much of a difference as far as the light reflection. These are the 4 pieces that make up the arm of the light. So there are 4 pieces of stamped steel, and what I'm using is a Scotch-Brite wheel. So these are little wheels that are designed to go on your Dremel or other rotary tools, and they come in different grits or abrasiveness. And they are not going to eat up the metal like a wire wheel will, but they are aggressive enough that you can get off the oxidation and rust in a timely manner. So I've had really good luck with these, and you work your way up the grits and you'll have a nice polished surface. This is the light assembly right here. So you take off the top there and you can actually pull out the switch mechanism. You see it has that cardboard around it. That's to isolate the hot wires from touching the metal of the housing. And for this piece right here, I took it over the drill press, and I'm using the drill press with a custom-made arbor on a buffing wheel. And you can see right there, it works really good. It's a little bit lighter, a little bit more controlled than what I have on my 6-inch grinder. Safety is important when buffing materials, so watch closely. Did you catch it? That got kicked out of my hands because I caught an edge. So I wasn't being careful enough, and the edge caught on the buffing wheel and it just ripped it right on my hands. I didn't have time to react or anything. These things happen in the blink of an eye, and before you know it, that part is gone out of your hands. Now that I have everything polished up and laid out, now it's time for the reassembly. So what I'm doing is I'm putting 2 little set screws into the cast housing there. And what those set screws are designed to do is once you screw the light into the housing, it prevents it from backing out. Remember, this is on an arm, and as it's swiveling, it's putting force on that housing and can cause it to want to twist out and back out of the housing itself. So that's why they put the set screws there. Now for the arm assembly, it's just a bolt through the 2 pieces of metal there, and then you put a washer and a nut on, and in the middle there's a spacer there so you don't collapse the metal down on itself. And it's a pretty simple installation right there, and then the final bolt will just mount into the machine. Now, if your machine did not come from the factory with a mount for one of these lights, Delta did offer a retrofit kit. So they offered a bracket that could be bolted up to any machine and had the hole alignment, so you could just mount this light to that bracket. They also offered a bracket that would directly mount onto the hexagonal shape rod that would hold the blade guide for the Delta 14-inch bandsaw. Right here you can see the wire that we're using is a braided imitation wire. So this is brand new wire, you can get it off Amazon, and it's designed to replicate the look of old wire. So it just has a braided sheath on the outside, but I think it's 16 gauge wire on the inside. I just used a blowtorch there to keep the ends of the braided outer sheath from fraying, and now we're just hooking it up to the switch assembly here. One note with the switch assembly: if yours is broken or just doesn't feel tight, feels loose, I would highly recommend going on Amazon or wherever you want to. You can even find it, I think like Ace Hardware would even have these. These switch assemblies are like $4. They're mass produced, they're everywhere, and they're a direct fit. They're the same size and everything. They haven't changed in almost 100 years. And it would be a safe option to go and put a new one in there instead of trying to reuse these old ones. Yes, we like to keep things as original as possible, especially here, but for safety wise, especially since old parts and electricity often are a good recipe for fire, it's just something to be mindful of. Now the cap just snaps back onto the top here, and we are done. So that completes the restoration. Hopefully you guys got something out of this video. If you did, please smash that subscribe button.